Hey, you found us again? Or maybe we found you. Welcome back to Static Ritual, the place where the signal gets strange, where the frequency bends, and where the stories we tell aren't quite fiction and aren't quite not. Before we begin tonight, I need you to do something for me. Put your headphones in, turn off the lights, and whatever you do, do not think about the thing standing behind you right now. Too late. You already did. Good. Now you're ready. Part 1. The parking structure at the end of Meridian Street. The last known photograph of Dr. Yolanda Voss was taken on a Thursday. Not by a friend, not by a security camera, not by anyone who meant to take it at all. It was taken by a traffic drone mapping a condemned parking structure on the outskirts of a city that doesn't show up correctly on GPS, a city that, depending on which map application you use, is either called Meridian Falls, New Meridian, or simply listed as a gray blotch with the label Area Unavailable. In the photograph, she's wearing a yellow hazmat suit, full enclosure, sealed hood, blue rubber gloves, bright orange boots the color of an emergency flare, the color of stop. Turn around. Do not come any closer. She is standing in the open doorway of an elevator. The elevator is painted yellow, a sharp, aggressive yellow, like a warning label on a chemical drum. Above the doors, in clean block letters, the word elevator is printed as if someone needed to be reminded, as if the signage itself was a plea. This is an elevator. This is what this is. Do not let it be anything else. Behind Dr. Voss, through the open elevator doors, the interior walls are covered in graffiti. Not gang tags, not artistic murals, equations, thousands of them, floor to ceiling, written in what the forensic analysts who reviewed the photograph later described in their official report as a reddish-brown substance consistent with but not confirmed to be biological in origin. And to the left of the elevator, floating or standing or existing in a way that human language doesn't quite have a verb for, is a shape, a dark shape, tall, maybe 12 feet, maybe more. It has legs, many legs, spindly and wrong, jointed in directions that legs should not be jointed. It has what might be a torso and what might be a head, but these terms feel generous, feel like the brain insisting on familiarity where there is none. It is not looking at Dr. Voss. It is not looking at the drone. According to the 3 separate image analysts who studied the photograph independently of each other, and who all reached the same conclusion without communicating, the shape is looking at you, not the camera. You. The person looking at the photograph. Every single person who has ever seen this image has reported the same sensation, a crawling certainty, slow and cold as glacier water, that the dark shape in the background has specifically clocked them, has noted them, has filed them somewhere in whatever passes for its memory. The photograph was taken at 11:47 a.m. on a Thursday. Dr. Yolanda Voss was reported missing the following Monday. She has never been found. But the elevator, the yellow elevator in the abandoned parking structure on the edge of a city that GPS can't agree on that, has been found. It's still there. And according to the 3 people who have entered it since Yolanda disappeared, it still works. It goes up. And it goes down. And it goes somewhere else entirely. Part 2. What Yolanda knew. You don't just end up in a hazmat suit. That's the first thing you have to understand about Dr. Yolanda Voss. She wasn't panicking. She wasn't lost. She wasn't a civilian who stumbled into something she couldn't process. She was prepared. Yolanda had a PhD in theoretical physics from a university she refused to name in interviews, describing it only as a school with very good parking and a basement that shouldn't exist. She had published 11 papers on what she called resonant spatial folding, the idea, deeply controversial, deeply mocked in academic circles, that space is not the rigid architecture we think it is. Space, Yolanda argued, breathes, not metaphorically, literally. Space inhales and exhales on a frequency so low that no instrument we've built can measure it directly, but its effects, she claimed, are everywhere. In the slight wrongness you feel when you walk into a room and can't explain why you want to leave. In the way certain buildings seem to hum at a pitch just beneath hearing. In the phenomenon, documented in dozens of cultures across human history, of places that seem to fold, where people walk in and don't walk out, or where people walk in and walk out changed. Her colleagues called it pseudoscience. Her department chair called it an embarrassment to the institution. Her mother called it that nonsense that cost you 2 marriages and a perfectly good academic career, Yoli. Yolanda called it the groove, because that's what it felt like, she said, when you found one of these breathing places. It felt like a record needle dropping into a groove, a click, a rightness, as if the universe had been waiting for you to find this specific coordinate, and now it could finally exhale. She had been searching for a groove significant enough to prove her theory for 11 years. The parking structure on Meridian Street found her first. She first heard about it from a man named Cutter, no last name given, no last name asked for, who showed up at her university office on a Wednesday afternoon carrying a manila envelope and smelling strongly of motor oil and something she couldn't identify, something botanical, like crushed leaves from a plant that doesn't grow in this hemisphere. Cutter was a drifter, a collector of strange coordinates, a man who had spent 20 years driving to places that felt wrong and writing down what he found there. He had no credentials. He had no funding. He had a beat-up van, a compass that sometimes spun on its own, and a handwritten ledger that he claimed contained the locations of 47 grooves across North America. He laid 3 photographs on Yolanda's desk: the parking structure, the elevator, the shape in the background barely visible in these older, grainier photos, but there. Always there. "I've been to 31 of my 47 sites," Cutter said, sitting across from her without being invited to sit. 29 of them were duds. Weird vibes, maybe. One of them gave me a nosebleed that lasted 6 hours, but duds. "And the other 2? Yolanda asked. Cutter smiled. He was missing a back molar on the left side. "The other 2 were this." He tapped the photograph of the elevator. "What happened at the other one?" Yolanda said. Cutter stopped smiling. "I don't talk about the other one," he said. He stood up. He picked up the manila envelope and left the 3 photographs on her desk. "The suit is mandatory," he said from her doorway. "Don't go without the suit. And don't press the button for the 3rd floor." "There's a 3rd floor?" she said. But he was already gone, and when she checked the security footage from the hallway camera outside her office, it showed only Yolanda, sitting alone at her desk, picking up 3 photographs that appeared in her hands from nowhere. Cutter was not on the footage. Cutter was not on any footage from that building, from that day. Part 3. The structure. The parking structure on Meridian Street has 7 floors. This is important. There are no stairs. This is also important. The structure was built in 1987, permitted by the city for a development that was subsequently canceled. It was used briefly as overflow parking for a shopping mall that burned down in 1993. After the fire, the structure was condemned, not for structural reasons, but because, according to the city inspector's report from February 1994, and this is a direct quote, "The building presents conditions that do not fall within established inspection parameters." That's it. That's the whole reason. Conditions that do not fall within established parameters. The report is 400 pages long. 397 of those pages are blank. When journalists have asked the city about the blank pages, the city has said the report was digitized from a water-damaged original. When archivists have asked to see the original, they are told it is being stored in a facility that is currently under renovation. The renovation has been ongoing for 19 years. Yolanda drove to Meridian Street on a Thursday morning in a rental car. She wore her hazmat suit, a level B chemical protection suit, yellow, the kind used in environments with unknown atmospheric hazards. She told the rental car company she was a consultant for a water treatment facility. She told her department admin she was taking a personal day. She told no one where she was really going. She had 3 instruments with her: a standard electromagnetic field meter, a custom-built low-frequency resonance detector she had designed and built herself over the course of 4 years, and a digital voice recorder. The recordings from that recorder are the only documentation we have of what happened next. Part 4. The recordings. The following is a transcript of the audio recovered from Dr. Yolanda Voss's digital voice recorder, found in the parking structure 11 days after her disappearance, sitting on the floor of the elevator, recorder still running, battery inexplicably still at 100%. Recording 1, 11:12 a.m. This is Dr. Yolanda Voss, recording for personal documentation. I'm entering the Meridian Street parking structure. It's 11 in the morning, overcast, temperature approximately 62 degrees. The structure appears abandoned. There is significant debris on the ground floor. Old signage, broken concrete, what looks like furniture. Someone has been living here, or was living here. There's a mattress in the northwest corner. There's a coat rack. A coat rack. Who brings a coat rack to a parking structure? Pause. My EMF reader is showing baseline. My resonance detector is showing, okay, that's not baseline. That's a low-frequency reading at approximately 0.3 hertz. For context, that's slower than a sleeping human brain. That's slower than almost anything biological. That's the frequency of... Long pause. Static. That's the frequency I predicted in paper 7. In the paper everyone laughed at. Quiet laugh. Shaky. Nobody's laughing now. Recording 2, 11:31 a.m. I found the elevator. It's exactly as described. Yellow. Very yellow. Almost aggressively yellow. The elevator sign above it is in good condition, which is strange given the state of everything else in here. Everything else is falling apart. The elevator looks like it was installed yesterday. Sound of footsteps on concrete. The graffiti on the interior walls, I can see it through the open doors. Equations. They look like okay. Okay, I need to stay calm. They look like my equations, from paper 7, but extended. Extended far beyond where I stopped. Something has continued my work in here, on the walls of this elevator, and what I am choosing not to think about too hard in terms of what it's written in. Breathing. My resonance detector just spiked. 0.3 hertz to 1.1. That's a significant jump. That's like going from a whisper to someone speaking directly into your ear. Pause. There's something in my peripheral vision, to the left. I'm not gonna look at it yet. Not yet. I need to document the elevator first. Static. 15 seconds. Okay. I looked. Long silence. I looked, and I am choosing to continue. I am choosing to continue because I am a scientist, and because what I just saw is the most significant discovery in the history of human inquiry, and because running would mean I die, without anyone ever knowing I was right. Pause. I'm going to call it the walker, because it has legs, many legs, and because calling it anything more specific would require a vocabulary that hasn't been invented yet. Pause. It's not threatening me. It's just watching. It's curious, I think. or the closest thing to curious that something like that can be. Pause. It knows, I'm afraid, and it seems to find that interesting. Recording 3, 11:44 a.m. I'm going into the elevator. The walker has not moved. My resonance detector is now reading 2.7 hertz. The air inside the elevator smells like ozone, like after a lightning strike, like the air is thinking. Sound of elevator doors, a low mechanical hum. There are 6 buttons, B1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to press 2. Start conservative. See what's on the 2nd floor. A click, a hum, movement. It's moving. The elevator it's moving, but it doesn't feel like going up. It feels like going sideways, like lateral motion wrapped in a disguise of vertical, like space is static, like space is breathing. Long pause. The doors are opening. Silence for 11 seconds. That's not a parking structure. Recording 4. Timestamp reads 11:47 a.m. Duration 43 minutes. This recording is primarily ambient. A low hum, a sound like wind through a structure, but steadier, more rhythmic than wind. A sound like the building is breathing. Occasionally, Yolanda can be heard murmuring. Most of it is inaudible. The following phrases are audible. Not a location, it's a frequency. The walker is a symptom, not the cause. The elevator is a tuning fork. Oh, it's been here the whole time, under everything. The city grew on top of it. The roads, the buildings, the whole city, it grew on top of it, like a tree growing over a wound. I understand now why Cutter won't talk about the other site. It's not malevolent. It's not benevolent. It just is, in the way that gravity just is, in the way that time just is. It doesn't hate us. We're just very small and very slow and very new. At the 37-minute mark, a new sound enters the recording, low, below hearing almost, a vibration more than a sound. And then, beneath that, something that might be music, a slow, deep, groovy pulse, like a bass line from the center of the earth, like the planet itself has a rhythm and has just now decided to let you hear it. At the 42-minute mark, Yolanda says clearly and calmly, "I'm pressing 3. At the 43-minute mark, the recording ends. Part 5. After Yolanda. 3 people have entered the yellow elevator since Yolanda Voss disappeared. The first was an urban explorer named Kell, who found the structure through an online forum thread that has since been deleted. Kell pressed the button for the 4th floor. The doors opened. Kell stepped out. The doors closed. Kell was found 6 hours later sitting on the ground floor of the parking structure, back against the wall, knees to chest, staring at nothing. Kell has refused to speak about what happened. Not out of trauma, Kell's friends say. Out of reverence, like someone who has witnessed a religious event so significant that describing it would feel like a desecration. Kell did say one thing once to one person. It has a beat. The second person was a physicist, a colleague of Yolanda's, name withheld, who entered the elevator and pressed the button for the 5th floor. She came back in 40 minutes with her hair turned completely white. She was 41 years old and had dark brown hair when she went in. She is currently writing a monograph that her publisher describes as a complete restructuring of physical law as we understand it. She declines all interviews. Her office at the university is now covered, floor to ceiling, in equations. They are written in red pen, she claims. The third person was Cutter, who had found the site first. Cutter, who had warned Yolanda. Cutter, who had one site he'd never talk about. Cutter entered the elevator on a Sunday evening, 3 months after Yolanda disappeared. He was seen on a traffic camera entering the parking structure at 7:14 p.m. He pressed the button for the third floor. At 7:16 p.m., the traffic camera recorded the elevator doors opening. At 7:16 p.m., the traffic camera recorded Cutter stepping out. Then the camera recorded another figure stepping out behind him. The figure is wearing a yellow hazmat suit. Yolanda Voss has still not been officially found. But the city's missing persons report on her was quietly, without announcement, closed 2 weeks after Cutter's visit to the elevator with the notation, "Subject located, declined to return." Part 6. The Thing About the Groove. Here's what Yolanda's 11 papers actually argue. Stripped of the academic language, stripped of the equations she wrote on the elevator wall and whatever substance she wrote them in, the universe has a rhythm, not a metaphor, not poetry. A literal, physical, measurable pulse. One so deep and so vast that all of human history has played out between a single beat and the next. All of civilization, every war, every invention, every love story, every city built and every city abandoned is happening in the silence between notes of a song that has been playing since before the first star ignited. The groove is where you find it, where the layers are thin, where you can hear it. Most people, when they find a groove, feel it as wrongness, as the urge to leave a room, as the hair on the back of your neck, as a dream that leaves you shaken without any content you can remember. But wrongness, Yolanda always said, is just unfamiliarity. It's your nervous system saying, "This is new, be careful." It's not danger, it's discovery. The walker, the tall, many-legged, impossible shape in the photograph, is not a monster. It is a listener. It found the groove the way certain animals sense earthquakes before they happen. It came to hear the music. It has been standing in that parking structure, in that thin place, listening to the universe's heartbeat, for longer than the parking structure has existed, longer than the city, longer than the species that built the city. And when Yolanda walked in suited up, instrumented, prepared, it didn't see prey. It saw a fellow listener. It saw someone who had spent 11 years proving, against ridicule, against professional exile, against the death of 2 marriages and the disappointment of a mother and the laughter of people who would never hear what she could hear, that the music was real. The elevator is the access point, the tuning fork. Press the right button and the space folds and you step out somewhere that isn't a floor of a parking structure. You step out into the music itself. Floor 2, you hear it faintly, a suggestion, a feeling. Floor 4, you hear it clearly, clearly enough to lose your voice for days trying to describe it. Floor 5, you hear it fully, clearly enough to turn your hair white with the beauty and enormity of it. Floor 3, you join it. That's where Yolanda went. That's why she declined to return. Epilogue. The question. The parking structure on Meridian Street is still there. The elevator still works. The walker still stands beside it, many